They say every flight has a story. But this one stopped time. It all started with a simple boarding pass. Seat 1A, first class. But when 12-year-old Avery Monroe, brilliant, black, beautiful, stepped into that cabin with quiet confidence, something happened. A grown man, twice her size and 5 times her age, refused to move. Refused to even look at her. And seconds later, the flight crew made a chilling announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, this aircraft is returning to the gate. Law enforcement will meet us upon arrival. The cabin froze. Phones stopped scrolling. Coffee cups trembled slightly in their holders. And every pair of eyes turned, not toward the man who caused the scene, but toward the child who had dared to claim her rightful seat. Avery stood frozen, boarding pass clutched in her trembling hand, her curly hair tucked under a hoodie, eyes wide with a question she'd asked 1,000 times before. Why does this always happen when I don't look like what they expect? That man had muttered just one word, disruption, as if she was some kind of problem, not a paying passenger. As if a black girl in seat 1A had to be explained, corrected, erased. What no one realized, not the pilot, not the FBI agents waiting back at the terminal, not even Avery's mother seated just a few rows behind, was that this wasn't about a seat. This was about power, about assumptions. About a child who had built a billion-dollar tech company from her bedroom in New Orleans, and the system that still couldn't believe that brilliance comes in braids and baby fat. In just a few hours, this flight would spark a federal investigation, trigger a corporate unraveling, and force the entire world to answer a question too many pretend not to hear. Who do we think belongs? And why? This is not just a story about race, or power, or even tech. This is a story about what happens when the world tries to erase a girl like Avery Monroe, and what happens when she refuses to disappear. Stay with me. You're gonna want to hear the whole thing. 12-year-old Avery Monroe isn't your typical tech CEO. She's 5 feet tall, wears light-up sneakers when she feels like it, and still sleeps with a stuffed sea otter named Orbit. But behind those soft brown eyes and honey-colored skin lies a mind that's rewritten the rules of educational technology. Before she even hit puberty, Avery is the founder and CEO of EduNova, an immersive learning platform that uses virtual reality and AI to help kids with learning differences, like ADHD, dyslexia, and autism, stay engaged in a classroom. The system she built is now used in over 4,000 school districts across the U.S., with pilot programs running in South Africa, South Korea, and Brazil. When Forbes called her the prodigy who outcoded Silicon Valley, she laughed, rolled her eyes, and asked her mom if she could skip the interview and just go to robotics club instead. But make no mistake, Avery knows exactly who she is. She was born and raised in New Orleans East, a part of the city where the buses come late and Wi-Fi sometimes drops when it rains. Her mother, Tasha Monroe, is a night shift nurse who still clips coupons and shops bulk at Costco, even though Avery's company crossed $1 billion valuation 7 months ago. Their 2-bedroom apartment doesn't scream wealth. There's no private chef, no security detail, no Teslas in the parking lot. Just a pair of hard-working women, one grown, one growing, building something that matters. And Avery? She never wanted fame. She wanted access. She still remembers what it felt like to struggle in class because the way the lessons were taught didn't match the way her brain worked. She wasn't broken. She wasn't slow. She was bored, and nobody noticed. So she built something for kids like her. She taught herself Python at age 8, machine learning at 9, and filed her first patent at 10. Now she's 12, wears prescription glasses with cat eye frames, and signs million-dollar licensing deals while sipping strawberry milk through a curly straw. But she's also careful, cautious. Outside of investor meetings and keynote speeches, Avery keeps a low profile. No interviews without approval. No press photos unless absolutely necessary. Her face is rarely shown. She doesn't want her story to be about novelty. She wants it to be about impact. That's why when she boarded Flight 2761 to Seattle, Seat 1A, first class, it wasn't about status. It was about focus. She had a game-changing meeting scheduled with the Gates Foundation, and she needed rest. She had no idea that a man across the aisle, with a business suit and a bruised ego, would try to erase all of that with a single phone call. But we'll get to that soon. First, you need to understand something very important. Avery Monroe didn't just build a company. She built a mirror. One that reflects exactly what the world still struggles to see. Brilliance, wrapped in black skin, and barely tall enough to reach the overhead bin. It's 4:12 a.m. in New Orleans, and Avery Monroe is already wide awake. Not because of nerves. She rarely gets nervous. But because her brain won't stop spinning. Code snippets, data flow diagrams, and pitch deck slides flash through her mind like a movie on fast forward. She's been rehearsing this meeting with the Gates Foundation for weeks. Every number, every demo, every detail is perfect. Still, she can't shake this weird feeling in her chest. She slips out of bed, careful not to wake her mom, and pads across the cool floor in her fuzzy socks. Orbit, her stuffed sea otter, gets a gentle pat on the head as she grabs her laptop from the desk. 3 monitors blink to life. Avery checks system logs like she always does before a trip. Routine. But tonight, something's off. There's a failed login attempt on their secure server in Frankfurt. Multiple attempts, actually, 9 in the last 6 hours. All blocked. No data breach. But that's not normal. She frowns. Could be a bot. Could be nothing. But Avery doesn't believe in coincidences. She encrypts her latest build, saves 3 local backups, uploads a 4th to an isolated cloud. Then she zips everything onto a silver flash drive shaped like a piano key, the one she keeps on a necklace under her hoodie, just in case. By the time she's done, the sun is just beginning to warm the horizon. In the kitchen, her mom is already dressed in her navy scrubs, sliding 2 travel mugs across the counter. Coffee for me, hot cocoa for you. Tasha smiles. We're a team. Avery grins and sips. You print the backup itinerary? Triple copies, Tasha says. Paper, phone, and 1 taped to the inside of your laptop. They laugh like they always do before big travel days. But the tension under the surface lingers. Avery senses it. So does Tasha. Neither of them says it out loud. But something feels off. Just before leaving, Avery double-checks her presentation slides again. Everything's in order. The platform updates, the accessibility modules, the ROI projections. Flawless. And yet, she still slides that silver flash drive into the deepest pocket of her backpack and zips it shut with more force than usual. As they lock the apartment door behind them, the street is quiet. Too quiet. Neither of them knows yet. What's coming today isn't just turbulence in the air. It's a storm they never saw coming. And it's already begun. Louis Armstrong New Orleans International is quiet at 6:30 a.m. The kind of quiet that only exists between red ice and the morning rush. Avery and Tasha move like clockwork. Their routine is polished as any frequent flyers. Clear at security. IDs double-checked. No carry-on liquids. No belt to remove. Avery even wears socks with pineapples on them. Airport tradition. But still, something's weird. As they approach the TSA checkpoint, one of the agents does a double-take. Then whispers something to another officer. It's subtle. Could be nothing. But Avery catches it. Her eyes flick to her mom, who gives her a quick squeeze on the shoulder. It's just early, Tasha says gently. Everyone's still waking up. But Avery's already alert. Their gate is quiet. Half the chairs still empty. The monitor above reads Flight 2761 to Seattle, on time. Avery sits by the window, reviewing her pitch slides on her tablet. Tasha grabs breakfast. Just 1 biscuit sandwich and a protein shake. We'll eat a real meal after you land that partnership, she says, winking. They laugh. It feels normal. For a moment. Then Avery notices something. There's a man in a janitor's uniform. Tan jumpsuit. Faded cap pulled low. He's not cleaning. He's watching. Watching her. He walks past their row. Then again. 3rd time, he pauses by the trash can near Avery's seat, lingers for several seconds, then walks off, empty-handed. Avery doesn't say anything. But she turns off her tablet, tucks it into her backpack, and shifts her seat closer to her mom. You okay, baby? Yeah, she lies. Just thinking. The boarding call comes right on time. Now boarding Group A for Flight 2761 to Seattle. Tasha checks their tickets. Avery's in Seat 1A, First Class. Tasha's back in Row 5, Economy Plus. Close enough to be near, far enough to give Avery space to focus. As they approach the gate, the woman scanning boarding passes hesitates. Just for a second. Her smile falters. She scans Avery's pass, then looks her up and down like she's doing mental math that doesn't add up. "Welcome aboard, Ms. Monroe," she says slowly. Avery nods politely and steps forward onto the jet bridge. Behind her, the shadows move. Soft, subtle, but unmistakably present. Someone, somewhere, doesn't want her on this flight. Not in that seat. And they're not done yet. First class smells like leather and lemon-scented disinfectant. The lights are low, the seats wide, and the silence heavy. Avery walks down the narrow aisle, backpack slung over one shoulder, flash drive pressing cool against her chest beneath her hoodie. She finds her seat, 1A, window side, just like her ticket says. Except someone's already sitting in it. A white man in his late 50s, neatly dressed in a navy business suit, is typing furiously on a laptop, noise-canceling headphones around his neck. He doesn't even glance up when Avery stops in front of him. She waits a second, then says, softly, "Excuse me. I think you're in my seat." The man looks up, sees her. His eyes scan her hoodie, her braids, the glow-in-the-dark shoelaces on her sneakers. He blinks, confused, then smirks. "No, I don't think so. This is 1A. "It is." Avery nods and holds up her boarding pass. "That's me." He doesn't even look at the paper. "You sure you're not supposed to be in the back?" The sentence lands like a slap. Avery's lips part slightly, stunned, but she doesn't back down. "This is my assigned seat," she repeats, voice steady. "First class." The man scoffs and finally looks at her pass. Then turns back to his laptop. "Must be a mistake. I paid for this seat. You can take mine in coach." From the galley, a flight attendant approaches. Her name tag reads Carla. "Is everything all right here?" The man answers before Avery can speak. "There's a mix-up. This young lady is trying to take my seat." Carla turns to Avery, who silently hands over her boarding pass. Carla scans it, pauses. "Sir, she's assigned to seat 1A. You're in 7D. That's economy plus." His expression hardens. "That's impossible. I always fly this route. Always sit right here. Delta messed up." "I understand your frustration," Carla says professionally, "but we can't proceed until you're in your assigned seat." "Well, maybe she can just sit somewhere else," he offers, eyes flicking toward the middle rows. "No offense, kid, but do you really need first class?" The word kid hits harder than it should. The cabin grows quiet. Nearby passengers begin listening, pretending not to, but they are. One woman in seat 1C, a silver-haired, sharp-eyed traveler, lowers her book. Observing, Avery says nothing. She doesn't cry, doesn't yell. She just stands there, holding her backpack, holding her breath. Carla looks to Avery, then to the man. "Sir, I'll need you to move." He doesn't. "I'm not giving up my seat because of some disruption." That word, disruption, it floats in the air, thick with implication. Avery's heart pounds in her chest. Her cheeks flush hot. She remembers her mom's words that morning. "Keep your head up. No one gets to shrink your space." Just as Carla is about to call for a supervisor, the woman in 1C finally speaks. "I'll switch with her." Everyone turns. "What?" the man asks. "You want to stay in first class, right?" the woman says, voice calm but firm. "Take my seat in 1C. Let her have 1A. Problem solved." The man hesitates. He's caught. Everyone knows it. And now, there's no way out that doesn't make him look worse. "Fine," he grumbles, gathering his things. "Whatever." He slides out of 1A with exaggerated effort and drops into 1C like a sulking child. Avery quietly sits down, buckles her seatbelt, and opens her tablet. But her hands are shaking. And she can feel it. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. 20 minutes after takeoff, everything seems calm. The cabin lights dim. The engine hums steady. Avery leans back in seat 1A, earbuds in, pretending to watch a nature documentary, But really, she's trying to forget what just happened. Across the aisle, the man who caused the scene, Charles Winfield, types furiously on his laptop, jaw tight, leg bouncing. Every so often, Avery catches him glancing her way. Not curious, not embarrassed, just annoyed. In row 5, her mom, Tasha, watches the back of first class like a hawk. She didn't witness the confrontation, but she knows her daughter's body language like the back of her hand. And Avery's too still, too stiff. Then, somewhere over Arkansas, a ding sounds. The captain's voice crackles overhead. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Bell. Due to a situation on board, we'll be returning to New Orleans. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. Flight attendants secure the cabin. Confused murmurs ripple through the plane. Avery pulls out her earbuds. Did she hear that right? Return to New Orleans? She looks at Carla, the flight attendant, now moving quickly up the aisle, face unreadable. Excuse me, Avery says. What's going on? Carla doesn't answer. Not directly. Nothing to worry about, sweetie. Just protocol. But the look in her eyes says otherwise. Tasha unbuckles and starts to rise. A second attendant stops her immediately. Ma'am, please remain seated. My daughter's up there. I want to know what's going on. No response. Just a stiff nod. In the cockpit, a quiet alert has gone out to ground control. An anonymous call to TSA flagged a potential security concern involving a minor traveling under false identification, allegedly tied to fraudulent tech operations. The subject? Avery Monroe. In first class, the tension thickens. Avery notices the way the man across the aisle smirks when the pilot mentions situation on board. She doesn't know yet what he's done, but her instincts tell her everything. Her hands tighten around the tablet in her lap. She can feel heat creeping up her neck. Not fear, anger, because she knows what this is. She's not a threat, but to people like him, she's an inconvenience. And now, they're turning the whole damn plane around because one man couldn't handle seeing a little black girl sitting in seat 1A. 10 minutes after the captain announces the diversion, a uniformed crew member approaches Avery's seat. He's not a flight attendant. No name badge. A tight earpiece in one ear. Miss Monroe, he says, polite but clipped. We need to speak with you near the cockpit. Bring your personal items, please. Avery blinks. Why? Standard procedure, ma'am. Ma'am. Like she's not 12 years old. She grabs her backpack, shooting a glance across the aisle. Charles Winfield watches with cool detachment, like he's just ordered a package and is waiting for delivery. Tasha tries to stand again, but another attendant blocks her. She's a child, Tasha snaps. You don't question a child without a parent present. It won't take long, says the man in the earpiece. Please remain seated. They lead Avery to the galley, near the cockpit door. Another figure is already waiting. Agent Lucas, mid-40s, pressed blazer, clipped speech. Federal Air Marshal. You're Avery Monroe? Yes. Date of birth? May 4th, 2012. Purpose of travel? Business. I have a meeting in Seattle. With whom? The Gates Foundation. He raises a brow. That's a big meeting. For someone your age. Avery keeps her face still. I run a company. Edu Nova, correct? She nods. And your mother, Tasha Monroe, is your guardian? Yes. Do you have proof of identity? Company documentation. Avery unzips her backpack and produces a folder. Inside, her passport, signed client letters, an IRS registration certificate, and a laptop with encrypted data. She lays it out like a portfolio. Agent Lucas flips through the pages. His expression is neutral, but Avery can feel the doubt radiating off of him. You built this company? Yes. On your own. With a team. But I founded it. I designed the platform. I hold the patents. That's impressive, he mutters, then adjusts. We received an anonymous report. Claimed you were using a fabricated identity, possibly as a front for tech-related fraud. Avery's hands clench around her bag straps. That's a lie. Do you know anyone who'd want to damage your reputation? Avery's jaw tightens. She doesn't say his name, but she thinks it. Charles Winfield. The man who didn't just steal a seat. He triggered a federal investigation in the sky because he didn't like who was sitting in it. Agent Lucas finishes his inspection, makes a note on his tablet, and nods. You'll need to answer further questions once we land. For now, return to your seat. Avery does. Back in 1A, she buckles in again, but this time, her body doesn't relax. Because now, she knows exactly what this is, and who it's really about. The plane has started its descent back into New Orleans. No one's talking anymore. The cabin feels like it's holding its breath. Avery sits motionless in 1A, hands folded tightly in her lap. She can feel the eyes. Not all of them, but enough. Curiosity. Quiet judgment. Across the aisle, Charles Winfield is pretending to scroll through emails. His posture is relaxed, but his eyes keep flicking toward her. Watching. Measuring. He thinks he's won. What Avery doesn't know, what no one does, is that just a few rows behind her, someone else is watching too. Gloria Harmon, age 72, seat 3C. Sharp-eyed. Silver hair twisted into a perfect bun. Matching scarf and pearls. She looks like someone's retired aunt from Atlanta. But Gloria is more than that. She's the former co-founder of EdTechX, a billion-dollar competitor to Avery's company. She walked away from it 5 years ago after a hostile takeover and a moral disagreement. And she recognizes Charles Winfield immediately. He's not just a bitter businessman. He's a senior VP at Argonne Holdings, a venture capital firm that recently acquired a controlling stake in EdTechX, the same firm that tried and failed to buy EduNova 6 months ago. They offered low. Avery's team declined. Now here he is, on this flight, sitting across from Avery Monroe, accusing her of fraud, triggering a security alert midair. It's not coincidence. It's strategy. Gloria narrows her eyes, quietly pulls out her phone, types a note. Winfield is Argonne. He made the call. He's trying to kill the Gates deal mid-flight. She sends it to her former colleague, now a legal advisor in Washington. In the meantime, she does what no one else in the cabin has bothered to do. She speaks up. She leans across the aisle, her voice cool but pointed. Mr. Winfield, you look awfully comfortable for a man who just set off a federal incident. Charles stiffens, glances at her. I'm sorry, do I know you? No, she replies. But I know you. Argonne Holdings. Corporate sabotage isn't as subtle as you think. His eyes flash with something, surprise, then calculation. I suggest, Gloria continues, that you keep your voice down when making phone calls in flight. Some of us still understand what ethics sound like. The words land hard. The rest of first class stays quiet, but alert. A few passengers shift uncomfortably. Gloria leans back, unfazed. Charles, for the first time, looks rattled. And Avery? She doesn't hear the exchange. But for the first time since the plane turned around, she feels a shift in the air. Somewhere in the silence, truth is beginning to rise. And so is justice. The plane touches down with a gentle bump, back in New Orleans, nearly 2 hours after takeoff. As it taxis toward a remote section of the tarmac, silence grips the cabin like a held breath. No one claps. No one jokes. Everyone knows something happened, even if they don't understand exactly what. Avery stares out the window. Her reflection looks older somehow. Not in years, but in something deeper. Like trust once stretched too thin. In row 3, Gloria unbuckles her seatbelt and stands, not waiting for permission. You should say something, she says calmly, loud enough for everyone in first class to hear. Charles Winfield blinks. Excuse me. You know exactly what I mean. For a moment, Charles looks like he might ignore her, deflect, play innocent. But then he exhales. A long, tired sigh. Not regretful, not exactly, but exposed. I made the call, he says, without looking at anyone. I contacted TSA when I realized who she was. Avery Monroe. The little genius. The PR darling. Gasps ripple through the cabin. You tried to take her company, Gloria says. I tried to stop her, Charles replies. She's 12. She's not supposed to own this much leverage. Not yet. Not without oversight. Avery turns her head slowly, eyes meeting his across the aisle. There's no rage in her face. Just disappointment. Deep and quiet. So you risked an entire flight? Gloria asks. For control. Charles shrugs. A pathetic kind of shrug. The kind a man gives when he has nothing better left to offer. She'll recover. Her brand's too strong. I just wanted to delay. Buy time. You almost cost her everything. She'll be fine, he mutters. She's not the victim people think. Before anyone can respond, the cabin door opens. 2 airport officers and a plainclothes FBI agent step on board. Mr. Winfield, the agent says. We'd like a word with you. Charles stands slowly, straightens his jacket, doesn't protest. As he walks past Avery, he doesn't say a word. But she watches him go. Not with hate, not with fear. Just a quiet, unflinching understanding. Some people would rather burn the whole plane down than admit a black girl earned her seat. By the next morning, the story has gone viral. Every major news outlet is running with the headline. 12-year-old tech CEO racially profiled. Flight grounded mid-air. Hashtags flood Twitter. TikTok explodes with commentary and reaction videos. Within hours, hashtag Let Avery Fly is trending in all 50 states. But for Avery Monroe, this isn't about trending. It's about truth. At a downtown New Orleans hotel ballroom, she steps up to the mic for a press conference. The podium is too tall. Someone offers a step stool. She waves it away. Her mom stands behind her. Gloria Harmon stands beside her. And the room is packed. Cameras flash. Microphones crowd the air like hungry mouths. Avery clears her throat. Yesterday, I boarded a flight to Seattle to meet with the Gates Foundation about expanding access to educational technology for students with learning challenges. Instead, I was removed from my seat, questioned mid-air, and treated like a threat, not because of what I did, but because of what someone assumed about me. She pauses. Lets the weight of that sentence settle. I'm 12 years old. I run a company that builds tools for children who feel left out of learning. I'm proud of that work. I shouldn't have to defend my right to sit in 1A. Reporters scribble notes. Some nod. Others look stunned. But Avery's not done. This isn't just about me. It's about how quickly the world doubts black girls when we show up in spaces they don't expect us to be. It's about how fragile some people's sense of power is, that the presence of a child can threaten it. I'm not here to be your exception. I'm here to build something bigger than fear. Gloria places a steady hand on her shoulder. Tasha wipes away a tear she pretends isn't there. Within hours, the FAA, TSA, and Department of Transportation released joint statements confirming Avery's documentation was fully legitimate. The FBI opens a case into Charles Winfield and Argonne Holdings for malicious misuse of security reporting protocols. The Gates Foundation issues a public message of support and reschedules Avery's meeting. This time, in person, in Seattle, first class, their jet. But the Real win isn't in the court of law. It's in the court of public opinion. Because Avery Monroe didn't just reclaim her seat. She flipped the table and invited the world to sit with her. 1 year later, the world knows her name. Avery Monroe is no longer just the 12-year-old girl who built EDU Nova from her bedroom. She's a household name in tech, education, and even policy. She's spoken before Congress. She's been interviewed by Oprah twice. And today, she's back in Seattle. This time, on her own terms. The sun filters through the glass atrium of the Global Innovation Summit, where Avery stands behind a sleek podium in front of 1,000 attendees and millions more watching online. She wears a deep blue blazer with silver stitching, her signature cat-eye glasses, and a necklace with a tiny flash drive charm, shaped like a piano key. Thank you for being here, she begins. A year ago, I was nearly erased from a seat I had every right to occupy. But what followed taught me something I'll never forget. Power doesn't come from being accepted. It comes from being prepared. She pauses, looks out over the audience. prepared to speak, prepared to build, prepared to lead, even when no one hands you the microphone. Avery's company, EduNova, now operates in 71 countries, serving over 9 million students with learning differences. Her team has doubled. Her platform is now translated into 16 languages. But Avery never moved out of New Orleans. She still rides the same bus line with her mom, still gets pralines from the corner store, still logs onto code reviews in her pajamas. And that man, Charles Winfield? He was indicted for fraud, banned from the securities industry, and issued a formal apology, one Avery accepted, but didn't excuse. Because Avery doesn't believe in canceling people. She believes in accountability and growth. After the summit, a girl no older than 9 runs up to her. Bright eyes, hair in beads, backpack covered in anime pins. "Miss Avery," she says breathlessly, "I want to make something big too." Avery kneels down, smiles, and replies, "Then you already have." Because sometimes, the biggest win isn't reclaiming your own seat. It's making sure there's room for everyone else. Some stories stay with us, not because they were loud, but because they were true. Avery Monroe didn't set out to make headlines. She didn't want a stage or a spotlight. All she wanted was to build something that mattered. Something that gave other kids a chance to be seen, to learn, to belong. But the world didn't just challenge her ideas. It challenged her right to even show up. And yet she did. She showed up. She spoke. She stayed. Not because it was easy, but because she knew comfort is never the goal. Impact is. The truth is, someone will always question your place, your age, your name, your skin. And when they do, you have 2 choices. You can shrink, or you can stand. Avery chose to stand. And in doing so, she reminded all of us that the most powerful response to doubt isn't anger or revenge. It's clarity. It's action. It's proof. So the next time someone tells you that you don't belong, tell them this. Maybe I wasn't born to fit your mold. I was born to break it and build something better. And then, do exactly that.